Heave hi ho, the best man in Ottawa was Mufferaw Joe, Mufferaw Joe. Big Joe Mufferaw paddled into Mattawa all the way from Ottawa in just one day. Hey, hey, Big Joe Mufferaw.
Hello, folks. How's it going, eh? Welcome back to How's It Going, eh? I'm advertising a different show. That's not on. That's not okay. And that's not who we are. I had a big talk at DePaul University planned. I was going to make $10K. I was looking forward to it. But, by the way, I had to spend money on security and everything. And fly in people. Chicago has brutal gun laws, so I had to fly in ex-feds. And then Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and a whole army of people. Not to fight, but just to make sure I could do the talk. And I've made it very clear in the past that we will fight. If you attack us, we will fight. As I say to my boys, don't start fights. But if someone starts a fight with you, finish it. That used to be a normal thing to say to kids. Now that's considered violent. So DePaul canceled my talk because I'm violent. And the definition of violent today is not accepting a beating from the far left. So if you want to get physical when someone pepper sprays you and not just call the police, then you're a violent person and we can't have you. We need to protect our students. They need to be free to pepper spray with no ramifications. No consequences. This is also, by the way, in an environment where the police are regularly told to stand down. At Berkeley, we're learning the police were told to stand down. In New Orleans, when they're taking down Confederate statues, the police are being told to stand down. These are cops who want to get involved, but they'll lose their pension. So the mayor has decreed it. The top brass has decreed it. As I always say, fuck the police's boss. So we're forced to defend ourselves, but no. Defense is violence in today's ethno-masochistic day and age. To simply want to survive is violent. You're a white supremacist if you don't hate your own whiteness. And I'm not being hyperbolic here. So I think this is very relevant because it's indicative of a much bigger problem here. It's a war on free speech. It's a war on facts. They are determined to preserve their narrative, and anyone who says otherwise has to be eliminated. So I've got three guests on today's show. Two are the two students who booked me, the college Republicans at DePaul University, Gabriella and Joran. And then I have Robert Spencer. Now, Robert wasn't at a school, but he's regularly at schools, and he experiences this violence all the time. He was shot at in Garland, Texas, and in Reykjavik, he was just poisoned. That's correct. He went to a restaurant after his talk. He was feeling good because it went well. 500 people turned out, great turnout. And later he realized that someone had put something in his drink, tried to kill him. And I think one of the reasons that they tell us that we can't defend ourselves and that we're monsters and that we're Nazis and that we're evil is so they can kill us. They don't just want to silence us anymore. They want to kill us. And today on my phone, tweets are replete with joy that Roger Ailes has died. There's a cadaver somewhere. Someone has lost a father. Someone's lost a sibling. Someone's lost a husband. And they're laughing at his dead body. So they want to dehumanize us is really what's going on because they want to kill us. So let's talk to these three guests and learn more about the literal war on the right.
Heave hi ho.
Gabriella, Joran, que fai?
Hey, Gavin.
How's it going?
Great. I was really looking forward to doing a talk at DePaul this next week, but I understand it's been canceled.
Unfortunately, yes.
We were looking forward to it too.
It's bizarre because we'd been working on this for months and months and months. These schools, and this is, by the way, has always annoyed me. They say, would you be willing to do a talk in 8 months? And you go, I don't know if I'm going to be alive in 8 months, but sure. And then it finally rolls up and they go, no, it's not happening anymore. You're too violent.
It's so stupid.
But I read that their declaration of my violence, and it maybe I'm blind to my own words, but I read it and went, that seems pretty reasonable. I just said, if they go low, we go lower. I'm saying fight back.
Yeah, I think that's 100% reasonable. I know you totally agree with self-defense.
Yeah, I don't understand how saying if somebody punches me, I'm going to punch them back is at all controversial.
Well, I think it's indicative of something much bigger, and DePaul is sort of at the center of this in many ways, and it's Western ethno-masochism. If you don't just take your pepper spray, take your self-flagellation, then you're violent. You're being a provocateur. So to not kowtow to this abuse from Islam and from the far left is being offensive. To defend yourself is to be offensive.
Yeah, you can see on like websites like Everyday Feminism, they have like cases about like dismantling your whiteness, and like Feminist Front, this group at DePaul, they just posted an article about like why white women should cut their bangs like super short and like ugly to like lose their white privilege.
Yeah, well, there was just a professor today I read about in Hawaii. She just got a job as an assistant professor in mathematics, black woman, and she sent out this decree saying all cis white males need to quit. So those jobs will be available for trans math teachers? Are there any? And and visible minorities.
Yeah.
But
I'm surprised that the new president of DePaul isn't like a transgender Syrian refugee with one arm and two boyfriends.
Well, the self-flagellation gets to the point where they actually promote Muslims.
Yes. This past week, we had an event that was a pro-gay rights around the world event. And we tried to put up posters that say gay lives matter, and they were banned because it was offensive to Muslims.
That's amazing.
And people came to the event.
Yeah, the
People
event
came
was
to the event
protested.
and protested it. They had signs that said things like, "When was the last time you ever spoke to a gay person?" Well, the speaker of the event was a gay person, so I don't know what they were getting at.
Yeah, he answered. He said, last time I talked to a gay person this morning, I woke up next to my partner and I talked to him. It's so stupid.
And he's Catholic, too. I honestly think your school would be more open to Linda Sarsour or that Palestinian who killed 2 Israeli teenagers that was going to run the Women's March. Or Ahmadinejad. I think they would be more open to that than a Catholic like myself or Milo.
Yeah, in the past it's happened. Razmi O'Day murdered 2 people. She's allowed to host a fundraiser on campus for her legal fees for entering this country illegally for after she murdered 2 people, and that's allowed. You're too violent, though, Gavin.
It's amazing. Okay, we got to wrap this up here, but let me just ask some basic questions. Is DePaul University pro-life?
I'd say in large part, no. When I tried to hang up a poster that said "Unborn Lives Matter," it was denied by the university. They said that it was too offensive to Black Lives Matter. So they'd rather appease the Black Lives Matter militants than say or make a very simple pro-life statement.
Yeah.
So,
not only are we a Catholic university, we're the largest Catholic university in the country, and a pro-life poster was banned.
Amazing. And if there's one thing that defines Catholics, it's abortion. In the Knights of Columbus, you can be a lot of different things, but if you're not pro-life, no one's interested. I heard that of Fox News, too. They're pretty much open to everything, but Roger Ailes drew the line at pro-life. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So a Catholic school is not necessarily pro-life. Are they are they against sex before marriage?
Oh, no. They have, like, HIV tests you can take here for free. Not even kidding.
Our student government association a couple years back had a referendum to have the university provide free birth control to students, and it passed among the student body. The university said no, probably because of the money issue, but I'm sure the sentiment was still there, and obviously the students were overwhelmingly supportive of it.
Do you see what's going on here? We've got to the point where even to not hate yourself is too much. Even to be a human being. Like Jimmy Fallon was in trouble because he tussled Donald Trump's hair, and that was because he humanized Donald Trump. You're not allowed to say these people are actual people, because I think ultimately they want to kill them. I mean, Robert Spencer was just poisoned in Iceland for daring to speak out about terrorism.
Yeah, like I'm wearing a Make DePaul Great Again hat, and I brought it in my backpack into this room and then put it on here, like fearing that people are going to try to fight me. One girl in our club got punched in the face wearing a MAGA hat.
Unbelievable. We're like gays in the 1950s.
Yeah.
And the biggest Catholic school in the country is anti-Catholic.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
I mean, if they don't mind Islam encroaching on the global stage and replacing Christianity if they're not pro-choice, pro-life, and if they're not against sex before marriage. I mean, at what point are you even still a Catholic school?
You can even
Great question.
You can even major in LGBTQ studies here. That's a major.
And I'm sure it's more popular than anything Catholic related as far as majors go
Yeah.
here.
It really is incredible. I mean, if Catholic schools aren't even Catholic, I don't know what's left. I mean, remember Rush Limbaugh, Sandra Fluck said she wanted her birth control paid for by this Catholic school. Rush Limbaugh says, isn't that a slut under the definition of Catholicism? And he was the one who had to be punished. So we get punished for asking questions about this absurd war on our own culture, and they get to just walk all over us.
Yeah, it's just accepted that, like, diversity is great and Trump is Hitler, and you say anything, you even ask questions about it, and you're terrible.
Well, and one thing I've noticed is that email that the university sent out about disinviting you, they mentioned all these violent statements, supposedly violent statements that you've made, but they don't criticize or even mention the potential violence that would have happened coming from the left at that event, because groups, various Antifa-affiliated groups in Chicago, even from the South Side, which is nowhere near here, were threatening to show up.
Yes.
But the university says nothing.
Yes. They're not taking in the context of we regularly get attacked. Chadwick Moore was just on my show. He was getting threatened by people that said they're going to punch him in the face as he's standing on the podium. Robert Spencer's getting poisoned. I'm getting pepper sprayed. Ben Shapiro's getting threats. When Milo goes to talk at Berkeley, they almost burn it down. And then one of these people says, you know what? We're going to start fighting back. Pariah! Violent monster! Well, you should tell your president that this is not stopping us. We refuse to tolerate abuse. I'm not going to sit there and say, thank you, sir, may I have another? Every time I get paddled by these lunatics, we're going to grab the paddle out of their hands and break it over their head.
Yeah, we're not backing down. We're going to continue to make posters, host speakers, and try our best to keep
we're
fighting
going to
back.
try to keep hosting speakers.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it this far at least. Hopefully in the future, next year, I'll even try to have you back, but we'll see if they let us. If they want to ban more people, that just looks bad on them. Enrollment's already dropping. It's going to continue to drop if they don't knock it off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ironically, you're actually learning a lot at this Catholic school, and you're learning everything that's wrong with the Western world.
Unfortunately, most other students aren't. They're being indoctrinated. But yeah, a few of us are benefiting, I guess.
Yeah, I've always been a conservative. I came into school more moderate. The more they push us, the farther right I go.
Yeah, that's the irony here. They're politicizing people who weren't normally political, but just out of spite, they're becoming MAGA. They're getting red-pilled. Guys, thanks very much. Thanks for setting up the talk, and I'm sorry it didn't work out, and I appreciate you guys coming on the show.
Speaking of MAGA, Gavin, would you be interested in us mailing you one of our hats?
I would love to wear one of those hats. I wish I had it on right now.
All right,
Awesome.
we'll do that.
Right on, guys. Thanks for showing up.
Thanks for having us on.
Bye, Gavin.
Bye.
Heave hi, ho.
Robert, how are you, sir?
I'm okay. It's kind of a weird situation, but I'm all right.
I've been talking to people all week about violence on campus, and the right wing is always seen as the Nazis, the violent ones. And it seems like we get nothing but abuse. And I talked to you about 2 weeks ago trying to get you on the show, and you said, I'm going to Iceland. I said, I hope we don't die soon, because you always need so much security for just listing facts. You never say something like Muslims all need to be deported, or they're not human, or anything. There's no rhetoric. You usually quote the Quran.
Yeah. Well, the left hates facts, and so there's a wonderful publication in Iceland called the Reykjavik Grapevine that I've lately become familiar with, and it's interesting. They published just today an account of the event and actually covered what I said, unlike any of the other Icelandic papers. But they had to lie. They made up a lot of things that I never said in order to make me sound bad. They couldn't go with anything I actually said to do that.
This is just like the Muhammad cartoons, where when they started circulating, new ones appeared in the group that were much more incendiary than what the real ones were.
Yeah, exactly. They had to do that because the real ones were innocuous. Just like what I say. If what I say is hateful, then you got to shut down the Quran and Muhammad as hate speech, because all I'm doing is quoting them.
I mean, I'm laughing, but I'm just laughing so I don't start crying. Now, you went there, you did your talk, it went well, an incredible turnout. 500 people in Reykjavik is everyone.
Yeah.
And then you go to a restaurant and people are acting strange around you, shaking your hand, telling you to fuck off. And then what happened?
Then I went back to the hotel, and I was about to actually start doing some work on my website, Jihad Watch, when I started to feel very ill. And I told my security man that all was not right, that I was not in a good state of mind, and started to vomit, went to the hospital, had very high blood pressure, racing heartbeat, a lot of symptoms consistent with a drug overdose. And of course, this is because one of those well-wishers in the Reykjavik restaurant slipped drugs into my drink.
Unbelievable. This must be not only the biggest story in Reykjavik in recent years, but also the biggest crime they've had. Poisoning a speaker? Is it dominating the headlines down there, or are they ignoring it?
No, they mostly ignored it, and some of the papers said that I claimed that I was poisoned. And then when I released the medical report, they had to admit that I really was poisoned, but now they've been downplaying it and making fun of it. The Reykjavik Grapevine is full of mockery about the supposed threat that the jihad terrorists pose, and how I came to town and I got poisoned, what a silly thing. And they're acting like it's nothing.
Well, it's not just jihadi terrorists, it's the white liberals who support this mythical, peaceful Muslim that they say dominates Islam. They're trying to kill you too.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was leftists, whether it was the one of my well-wishers or the other. In any case, it was a non-Muslim leftist who drugged my drink.
It's amazing. And it's not like we're there to promote the sexualization of babies or talk about how Jews are lizard people. I mean, when you see the kind of reaction that these speakers get, you go, wow, their speech I don't want to read it. My eyes might burst into flames. And then you read it and you go, if this was a high school essay, it would get an A. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. I've gotten that all through. You know, once I spoke at Boise State University in Idaho, and the next day the student paper said they were actually surprised. I made a cogent presentation. They were so full of the propaganda that I was going to come in spewing hate and fear and all sorts of evil that they were surprised that actually what I said was completely reasonable.
You know, I was reading yesterday about Jimmy Fallon feeling incredible guilt because he tussled Donald Trump's hair, and the left was saying that humanized him and made him more electable. And he still wrestles, he still tosses and turns all night, remembering that horrible thing he did when he humanized him. But you brought up an interesting point where you said they want to dehumanize us. They want to dehumanize the left in order to make their imminent deaths less consequential.
The left wants to dehumanize us in order to make our imminent deaths less consequential.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, for years we've seen that they don't deal with our arguments. They just say that we're evil. And now I see, after having been poisoned in Iceland, what the outcome of that is. They want to say that we're evil so that nobody will mind when they do away with us.
I think it's time we just accept that we are dealing with an enemy that has no interest in debate, no interest in fleshing out ideas, no interest in the truth. We are up against ideological zealots who want to end our lives.
Yes, absolutely. That's what it is. I see that more clearly than ever after what's happened to me over the last week.
Incredible. Well, I hope that this doesn't thwart you and makes you more determined to tell the truth about Islam.
Oh, absolutely, Gavin. You can be sure that until they finally do get me, I'm going to be working.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for coming on the show, Robert, and best of luck to you in the future because you're doing great work.
Thank you. From now on, I'm ordering in.
See ya.
Heave hi, ho.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. This used to be about ideas. It used to be about debate. It's no longer about debate. This is a full-on war. It's a culture war. It's a war on Christianity. It's a war on the West. And it's a war that involves casualties. They want to kill us. If I died at DePaul, there'd be 100 funny memes. If Ann Coulter got a brick to the head that killed her, they would Photoshop funny things around the brick and go, ha ha, the witch is dead. We have created, modern academia has created a generation of lunatics, sociopathic lunatics. Stop trying to debate them. Just try to stay alive. Thanks for tuning in.